Hi, good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are in this world. Hello. People are joining, I think. Hello, Marina. It is a different experience to be live with other people, knowing that you're all there. The message comes along effortlessly. It sort of gets focused or directed, depending on who's watching, I feel. So deep breathing, deep conscious breathing, day 18 of 21. I really hope you've been enjoying this and you've been practicing and you've started to see some benefits. Tomorrow I'll be discussing an overview of them, and I'm going to prepare something that you can actually fill out and then take score a little bit more, whether it's taking score of your body, on you starting to notice things of your body that they've changed or they've modified, and how much weight you've been losing at what pace. Remember, when you're trusting the wisdom of your body, it synchronizes. So it doesn't go off balance. It's finding its balance. With the more you breathe, it finds its balance. So there's a decrease in weight. There's a consistent release of toxins and carbon dioxide. So you lose weight, and as you lose weight, then the skin knows what to grasp onto that, and the muscles grow stronger. So there's this synchronicity that happens. There's not going to be a sudden loss of weight like when you go on a diet. You sort of strangle all your cells and you force things to start moving, and that's when there isn't that synchronicity. You lose a lot of weight, but then you get a lot of sort of, the skin hasn't been able to have enough energy to catch up to that. The muscles need more time to sort of fill out. So just know that when you're deep breathing, you are now trusting the wisdom of the body to do what it knows how to do best. You must trust it. And I hope that this process can allow you to bring your level of trust to such a level that you know that there's a wisdom that the mind cannot conceive of. And why the mind will never conceive it, because the mind can only label and describe. Remember, the mind only knows what it knows, meaning what you've already experienced. The mind has no idea of the infinite possibilities. And that's what I'd like to discuss today, is that when you rely only on your mind, you will only be presented with the opportunity to be action orientated. The mind says, this is what happened in the past. This is what 99% of the time will happen in the future. So this is what you must do. It can only have 2 points, and it will see where it was, where it wants to be, and only the possible actions it knows to get to that other point. So from A to B, it only knows that line. All right. That's being action orientated. Who is action orientated? The ones that only believe in the mind. Only what the mind says to me can I believe, and therefore I will do what I am told, because that's who I am. That's my personality. And remember, your personality is only what your personal reality is presenting. But if you keep creating it over and over again, you will only see that line from A to B, and that's the only way I can get through this. This is the only way I can do this. This is the only thing I know what to do. With inspired action is a completely different perspective. A completely different perspective, where it doesn't entail any mind. Why? Because the more you've been breathing, the more energy, the more balance, the more the wisdom of your body is available to you. Now you have higher vibrational frequencies. Now infinite possibilities are available. And when presented in the moment, of any kind of action that needs to occur to you, it will occur to you. Just know that is infinite abundance. You will know what to do in the moment when you need to do it. In the now, you will know what to do when you need to do it in the now. The mind can only sense time. It needs to think about things. Therefore, it needs the time in order. I already know what I'm going to do next week, Friday, to go from here to there, and that is the only option. Well, what if the car breaks down? And what if something comes up? What if there's an emergency? Then it's going to be disappointed. The mind's going to be disappointed. And then you're going to say, things went wrong. Things can only go wrong when you've been pre-coordinating it. And now you expected that next Friday needs to go in a certain way. I'm only supposed to meet that person. So you're actually limiting yourself from infinite opportunities, infinite possibilities, because you're not trusting that you would know what to do when you need to do it. And when you need to do it is only when you need to do it. Fine, I get it. Planning, having an idea that Friday you'd like to go there. But this is just an example. Inspired action feels free, like freedom. It feels more expansive. And when you get into the habit of being at these higher energetic frequencies by literally breathing more and consistently and relying and trusting, my body knows what to do. My body is prepared. It can heal itself. It can cleanse itself. It can maintain itself. And what is within, you will always experience without. The misidentification with the mind is creating all of your limitations. We have relied so much on our mind, and unfortunately, we have given it in an impossible task. The mind was never designed to be you. The mind was never designed to know what's going to happen in the future. The mind can only know a limited, a small version. I actually feel very, very sorry for how much we've put on top of this mind. And it's obviously set up for failure. In fact, most of us are either in some sort of despair, in some sort of form of suffering, in some sort of anxiety, depression, suffering, in some sort, because we've given so much responsibility on top of this poor mind, which was only meant to be a focusing tool for you. And that's why we're experiencing limited versions of who we really are. And that's why we are creating so many discomforts and dis-ease. Dis-ease, that's what diseases are. They're just an interruption of ease, an interruption of flow. That which would be there if you just were a little bit more informed. You've been misinformed. You're not that. You're not that. You're not this. You're not that. You're not this. Who are you? Is not a personality. Who are you is one with that wisdom that allows your body to function. Trust it. What am I supposed to trust? I'm supposed to trust the same wisdom that has this magnificent synchronicity of this body. Yes, trust that, but I cannot see it. You're not meant to see it. And who wants to see it? The mind. I want to know I'm in good hands. You know. When you know, you know, you know. But you can only know when you're vibrating at the frequency of that wisdom. Your body works perfectly when it is given the sufficient amount of oxygen. At that rhythm of oxygen, the 8 liters per minute in your lungs will produce a certain amount of energy. And that amount of energy flowing through your body will produce a certain frequency, a very high frequency. At that frequency, when everything is working perfectly, you will be inspired to action. You will just know, I am safe. Why? because now you are one with that wisdom. You are one with it. You're not being separated by what the mind says. Separation is caused when you think you're this. Instead, you feel as one when you're out of the mind and using the mind as a tool. The feeling of oneness will give you the opportunity to perceive infinite possibilities. And when you're in the moment and action is required, you just know that you will know what to do. So this is another side effect of enjoying and mastering the art of breathing. You will be less in the mind. You will feel more relaxed. You will feel more calm. You will feel more empowered. And inspired action will be the name of the game all the time. So start expecting it. When the mind says, oh, you've got to worry about this thing, you've got to worry about it, you've got to worry about it, notice it. And saying, hang on a minute, I've been listening to you for decades. Let's just try it out. I have been practicing. I have been breathing. I want to trust that in the moment, I will know what to do. I will know what to say. I will know how to handle the situation. You already putting yourself in the direction of trusting. And if fear comes up, breathe through it. You're allowing fear to be released. So the more we talk about breathing, have you noticed what comes up? All of a sudden, we're talking about mind. All of a sudden, we're talking about emotions. All of a sudden, we're talking about perspectives. No wonder they call breath, the vital life force, because it literally creates experiences in your life. It is life itself. Without it, you are strangling yourselves. You're limiting your opportunities. You're limiting yourself to the small little box. It is really, really important that you start to perceive life from a different, that allow life to hold you, to lift you, to support you. You're always being supported and you're not believing it. You're not trusting it. You're being supported all the time, whether you know it or not. I'd like you to know it so then you can experience this. I'm okay. I'm being supported. You're always being supported. So I've written some really cool notes for you guys today. And it was really inspired the way I wrote it. And I want to share with you a breathing technique to become more aware of your exhaling. Because the more you exhale out, the more you'll inhale, because the body will want to replenish that. But I'd like you to start experiencing more of a muscle, more of a toned diaphragmatic movement. All right. So this is a great idea. If you have a straw, for example, don't throw it away. Keep it in your drawer so we don't pollute out there. Keep it. It is great exercise. But I'll tell you all about it. Let me just go through the notes just in case I've didn't mention something. So, unless you have experience action orientated compared to inspired action. What I wrote at the beginning, it says, unless you have experienced it, you can't really say anything about it. The mind cannot conceive when you start having a conversation, I'm action orientated, or I've experienced inspired action. The mind doesn't know what inspired action is. So unless you experience it, when you experience it once, I just knew what to do. It felt good. It had this idea just came into my mind and I went and I did it. I didn't hesitate for one moment. And look what happened. I saved someone's life. I gave someone the right directions. I gave them good advice. You were inspired. You were in the flow. You were in alignment. That's what inspired action is. All right. So don't think about inspired action. You're just going to go twirling around and around and around in circles. All right. So, but once you get a momentum going of experiencing inspired action, now you can feel, I can trust this. This is effortless. This is fun. You're going to want to be in that state of being. You see, energy creates the state of being that you're in the moment. So the more energy, the more oxygen, that certain vibration goes up. Now you have one state of being. You're feeling good. It changes the chemicals in your brain. It changes the whole dynamics of your body. Okay? Now let's say you got a fright and you held your breath for a while, and then now the rhythm stopped for a minute. Now your vibration just suddenly goes down. Now you're in another state of being. Hang on a minute. Now I have a different perspective. You take another deep breath in and out, and you raise your frequency. It's like you are in a different state of beings 100,000 times a day. You're never the same person. Only your mind tells you are. Isn't that nice to know? So the energy that you feel within, it just elevates your desires to engage with life. Instead of strategizing your action around trying to avoid certain things from happening or trying to force things to happen. Like, let me read that again to you. The energy that you feel within just elevates your desire to embrace life, to engage with life. You're not scared of it anymore. You're not trying to strategize. Let's get him and her to do so and so, and then let's do that and let's do that. You're not trying to strategize. You're not trying, and then you make yourself upset because people not cooperating with your plan. Okay? What are you fearful about? What are you trying to avoid? Ask yourself the question, why am I trying to control the situation? You're not embracing life. And when you are pushing life away from you, you're not going to have a good time. You need to be one with it, in alignment. So being action orientated and say, I am going to make this happen, doesn't even sound like fun, doesn't even sound like joy. It doesn't sound loving. It doesn't sound kind. All right? So let's become more kind to ourselves and embrace life. How? Not forcefully. Give yourself more life. That is, breathing is giving you the life force. If you're not breathing, you're denying yourself life. And it's not a metaphor, all right? It becomes exhausting to always be focused on controlling circumstances and events and people, isn't it? You know who you are. Give it up. Breathe more and learn to trust the wisdom of your body. What wisdom? That one that's making everything work right now. Okay? Allow it to trust it and just be inspired. Just sense, I am present in this moment. See what comes up. Don't be in your mind, be in your heart. By deep breathing more often with a certain consistency, creating a rhythmic flow of energy, you feel elevated, light, and empowered. And remember, I even put in the notes of the parasympathetic nervous system, just to remind you, the parasympathetic nervous system is allowing rest and digest functions to activate, and your endorphins are releasing and allowing you to feel those good feeling chemicals to flow through your body. So how can you not be feeling good? All right. You don't really need to choose to be happy in this state. You are feeling on top of this world. So you don't really need to choose. All right. The only choice you need to make is whether to allow this oxygen in or not. And that is your free will. You are so free, you can deny yourself life. That's the free will you have. All right. Remember, when these energetic vibrations are high, that's when healing takes place. Wouldn't you want to be able to know how to heal yourself? Oh, wow. Just by breathing, I can heal myself. Yes, that's what the mind says. That's impossible. Remember, the mind only knows what it knows from the past. So our past experiences in history classes and whatever is that what we know of the past, that the only way I can heal is medicine, doctors. Okay, you know what they do? They sort of elevate the discomfort in the moment. But if you keep denying yourself oxygen, you're just going to fall back down. And then you're going to need a doctor again. The doctors are just patching you up for the moment, but you need to be able to do the real healing from inside. They cannot keep patching you up. They're doing a fantastic job, but it's your job to give you the main fundamental element to heal what's inside. And the only way you can heal from the inside out is by giving it the energy it requires. Remember what we said. If your lungs are designed to take in 8 liters of air per minute, it's there for a reason. And you've only been taking in a liter, if not 9 out of 10 of us. That's what we did for decades. Remember, I like doing the reminding part. So you feel more empowered and confident, and you're much more interested in what is happening right here, right now. That's what happens. You get interested in life right here, right now, when you're feeling empowered. When you're feeling disempowered, you just cannot wait until this day ends. What a day it's been. You feel the difference? You're feeling disempowered, you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling tired, you're feeling drained. You just cannot wait to get to the next moment. Come on, let's rush through this. I want to get to the next moment, because right now is not interesting me at all, because you're not feeling good. When you're feeling good, time goes by slowly, doesn't it? You're enjoying it. You know that. All right. You're more interested in life when you are flying at those high frequencies. You're more interested in right now. When you're not, you can't be bothered about right now. So get interested about right now. How? Breathe. Feel more empowered. How? Breathe. Get more clear. Get that clarity. How? Breathe. Breathing will always be the answer. It will help you. It will help you. It will extremely help you. All right? So being more interested in what's happening in the now, you are more aware of what is actually happening. So when you are interested in life, now you actually are aware of everything that is really happening. You're not in the mind describing of what you think is happening. This is the beauty. This is what I said to you. You'll always have a different perspective when you have more energy. When you have more energy, you're glowing. Breathe. Okay? So the only choice you need to make is, are you going to allow energy to be created with you or not? And that is your free will. And I will leave you to your free will. I put a beautiful little diagram of all the positive things that happen to you when you breathe, and what is inspired action. So you can go and read that. Inspired action as not as a definition, but just to kind of give you the impression of what it kind of feels like. All right. So I know that it's just to ease the mind a bit, just to like give it a try. You're not going to fall and hurt yourself. Being present to wanting to experience inspired action and being in the now, and amaze yourself. It's like, oh my God, look what I did. Look how I did it. Look at the response I got. Beautiful. You engaged with everyone at a higher frequency. Be prepared to surprise yourself, to delight yourself. This is how you create new experiences. You create new experiences by even being surprised about yourself. Now you have a new experience that the mind can label. Let it label it. All right? You're not the mind. So I did that. Okay. So the breathing exercise. All right. So find a straw, first of all. And I'll read to you the explanation of why this exercise is really, really good. So, and that I'll take it from the book. I haven't really been following the book much in this last week, because it's been more orientated to self-awareness and self-realization that from my experiences and speaking with others. So I've kind of given you the introduction of what you will be expecting by raising your frequency. and what it feels like to be in alignment with the mind and body when you are at that frequency. So I didn't mind taking a part of this book just to describe this particular breathing exercise. So find a straw and keep it. All right. You're going to need it. It's good exercise. So pay attention to your in breath. All right. And your out breath. Now then you take a deep breath in, then you put the straw to your mouth and you let out the breath through the straw instead of your nose. Okay. Be sure to lift the straw to your mouth and don't bend over. We kind of have that habit of like bending down to the straw. No. Just take it up to you. All right. So you take a deep breath in and then you put the straw to your mouth. Okay. And now you just sort of let the air come out. So pay attention if the exhalation passed through the straw on its own accord or if you interfered. Just notice that. Try not to help at all. Don't blow, don't push, and don't force. We're just trying to become aware. I know everyone's aware of the inhale, but then with the exhale, we sort of like let it go. So you bring your attention to the exhale, and I'll tell you why now. So just do not blow, do not force, and do not push. Just notice where you're interfering. All right? You will gradually become aware of the extent of your interference. Remove the straw and allow the remaining air to flow through your nose. So why is this exercise important? It's very, very simple to do, but the awareness that it brings you. Let me read you this paragraph. So this is another biggie with breathing coaches, because by putting up an obstacle, the straw, you'll make conscious contact with your breath. Okay. This particular version comes from a Carola Spreed's book, Ways to Better Breathing, if you're interested in that. So by focusing on the out breath, more air goes out. And when more air goes out, more air has to come in. Plus, the simple act of pursuing the lips forces you to breathe in deeper and more diaphragmatic mode. So you are sort of exercising the diaphragm. And that is important because the more movement it has, the more, that's what I mean about mastering your breath, that you can expand your lungs. You can get even more than 8 liters of air. And when that diaphragm knows how to move, like really know how to move, you can produce even more energy. So it's important to loosen it up. Remember, guys, we're stiff. We haven't been breathing for decades properly. All right. So this is a very gentle exercise to do with the straw. Okay. So do this exercise 10 times. I would do them 10 times in a row, and maybe do it a couple of times a week. Or every time you find yourself with a straw, you go out for a drink and say, hey, I'll finish my drink and keep my straw and do my exercises. Okay? So every time you come out, and then keep the straw. Keep the straw. Don't throw them away. So while this seems pretty benign at first, there are several benefits, let me tell you. By letting the air stream out as freely as possible, okay, through the straw, you actually expel more air than you ordinarily would. And you don't realize that. So it's a really good exercise. This is the key to increased inhalation. Because remember, the more you exhale, the more room you have to inhale. It's really good to get all that air out. The pressure of the atmospheric air and the pressure of the air in the lungs have to equalize. So furthermore, since the air can get out only slowly through the narrow straw, the diaphragm is forced to relax slowly rather than suddenly. And that's what we tend to do when we're breathing on our own, is that we take a deep breath in, and that's why I say slowly out. That diaphragm needs to slowly relax. Otherwise, you're going to force it and cause tension, okay? It needs to go slowly. So the diaphragm is forced to relax slowly rather than suddenly. Slow relaxation of the diaphragm improves muscle tone. As soon as your breathing apparatus is toned up, more efficient breathing follows. So we want to get those muscle. There's also those muscles underneath your ribs, the costal muscles that also get toned. They help and assist the diaphragm and expanding those ribs so more air can fill in. You want muscle tone. And trust me, this helps the muscles of your abs a lot as well. I've noticed an incredible improvement. So the last paragraph of the benefits is it also gives you a simple and objective test to check the quality of your breathing. With the palm of your hand, feel the temperature of the first and the last exhalation you let pass through the straw. You will discover the air at the end of your session is considerably warmer than the first exhalation. What does that mean? As air coming from the deeper part of your body is warmer, this indicates your breathing is deeper, less superficial than when you began. And that is, a task for celebration. Thumbs up. That means I'm going in deeper. I'm succeeding in letting more air come up, and then which means more air goes out. The body is expecting more air to come back in. So this is how we start expanding. Remember, having energy come in, but we want more energy. We want to fill up those lungs with the 8 liters per minute, per breath. Why? Because we want to reach those high frequencies and experience life as we were designed to experience it. And the more you breathe, the more you dedicate your time to exercises and breathing, and being focused on your breath. It might take you 3 weeks, it might take you a little bit longer, but you will be more out of the mind and more present in the now moment. And that's where the fun starts. That's where the healing is basically nearly complete. So prepare yourself for inspired action and be prepared to be surprised, delightfully surprised, to experience yourself, and to be delighted to experience a different version of you every single time. Remember, if you keep thinking the same way and doing the same things, you're always going to know what's going to be happening. You'll always see yourself in the same light. You'll always see yourself in the same way. How can you experience anything new if you just allow yourself to be delighted, inspired? I am now inspired to go left instead of right. Why? I have no idea. But that's a longer road. I have no idea. Just tune in. Check in with yourself. Just check in with yourself. The heart knows. The mind is limited. The heart knows the infinite possibility because it's tapped in at the same frequency of how much energy you've got going. So do those breaths, stay in alignment, be out of your mind when you're breathing, and do these exercises. Let me see if there's anyone that's asked a question. Anyone here? That's right. The mind only knows what about the past. That's right, Marina. The mind only knows what it's experienced in the past. All right, guys. Oh, I've gone over time once again. I seem to enjoy it. So tomorrow, I haven't really set up about exactly what I'm going to talk about, but there's a topic that I've been inspired to talk to you about. So I'm going to put it in the event for tomorrow on how we mirror, how our bodies are a mirror of our thoughts. And I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but I think I've been trying to save it for the last episode. So I hope you'll tune in also tomorrow, and what I mean about your body being a mirror of our thoughts, and it will give you a clearer perspective of those emotions that are trapped inside the bodies, if there's anyone that's still a bit confused or not really embracing the whole concept. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I love you all, and be good to yourselves. Practice the exercise. Let me know what you feel. Ciao.